I'm bearded and bored. Let's talk about legalizing hobby distilling.
I just said, yes, man, right away, anything.
I'd love to get into hobby distilling, but currently it's illegal. If it was legal to distill alcohol in your home, you'd be watching a distilling video right now. You might have questions about hobby distilling, like maybe you thought it was legal. What if I'm just distilling a little bit? Like, you know, I'm not planning on selling it. That's okay, right? No. Both of those things are not true. What is true is that you can brew beer and you can brew wine in the United States for personal use at your home. And it has been legal to do that since 1978. You can also buy alcohol and you can drink it. You can own it. But you can't take the legal beer and wine that you made and then distill it to get the alcohol out? Why not? That doesn't make any sense. Despite what you've seen on TV shows, home distilling is not just for rednecks who want to get around the law and make some fast money. There's a huge community of home distillers out there who just do it for the enjoyment of the craft, just like brewing beer. It's really not any more difficult than brewing beer. If you're good at it, you can make whiskey or vodka or gin or whatever you want that is just as good as the top shelf liquors. It just takes practice. And the people who distill in secret against the law, they're not doing it because they want to sell it. They're doing it because it's fun. Not fun to break the law. Breaking the law. It's fun to fiddle with shit, to make stuff. It's fun to brew beer, you know? It's a hobby. Most people don't know that it's illegal. Most people think that, of course, yeah, that's legal if you're just doing a little. No, it's not in any quantity. I think there's a real case for making distilling legal. Think about the craft beer industry. Before 1978, there was no craft beer industry. It was just all the domestic brands, you know, the Coors, the Miller Lite. There was no real selection. But after 1978, when home brewing was legalized, guys started tinkering around in their garage and teaching themselves how to brew beer and make wine. And some of them got good enough that they were able to make new and interesting products, trying out different styles, different ingredients, things that you would never do in the industry because it wouldn't make money. But they could do it for themselves because they thought it tasted good. Then they had a product. Then they had something that they could take to market and see if they can get investors and be entrepreneurs and open their own small craft breweries. And now, when you go to the grocery store, there's like hundreds of them. I mean, the craft beer section is usually bigger than the domestic beer section. Just to give you some perspective, Jim Koch is the founder of Sam Adams Brewing. You've heard of Sam Adams? Yeah. He started out in his garage as a home brewer. Go Jim. And that never would have been possible if it weren't for the legalization of home brewing. That's the kind of thing that can happen when you take away dumb laws, like, no, you can't brew beer in your garage because why? There was no good reason. There was a little bit of pushback when it happened from the beer industry. They thought they were going to lose lots of business, but they didn't. And in fact, the beer industry exploded. Everybody is selling more beer. Everybody in the beer industry is making more money. Billions of dollars of the US economy is just beer. Just beer. And it would not be nearly as high if not for the craft beer industry. So what kind of change could we see in the market if we legalize home distilling? Probably a similar response. Let's say I want to open a craft distillery. I can do what all the other craft distilleries did and practice in my garage. But if you practice in your garage, you're breaking the law in order to go and get a license to eventually have a legal licensed distillery. What other industry has that kind of a barrier to entry? It doesn't make any sense. If I want to open a brewery, I just start brewing beer and get really good at it and then get the money together and open a brewery. But if I want to open a craft distillery, I have to basically be that close to being a felon, you know? You have to practice, you have to learn, you have to have hands-on practical experience to get good at it, you know, and to refine your recipes. So, it just seems so dumb. And just in case you need some motivation, Hobby Distillers actually have the best toys. I mean, look at this thing. I want to play with that. That looks amazing. It's a little bit cooler than just a brew kettle. One concern that people have when you talk about home distilling is, oh, if you make a still, you're gonna blow yourself up. Not really. And here's the good news. There's actually proof that that's not true. The only country in the world that allows people to distill alcohol in their homes is New Zealand. In like the 20 years of data that I looked at, there were fewer than 5 fires caused by distilling practices in 20 years of data. That's less than 1%. It's almost statistically insignificant, the number of fires over a 20-year period. The top 3 causes of fires in homes: scented candles or unattended candles, cooking, and cigarettes. So basically, if you light a candle in your house, or if you decide to deep fry a turkey or have a cigarette, you're in more danger of burning yourself up than if you build a still in your backyard and operate it properly. And you know, here's the thing. If you legalize it, then people can actually talk about it, and the guys who know more can teach the guys who know less so that they are safe. Currently, the internet is just full of garbage information. There's some really good sources on how to do it properly, and there's some really dumb sources on how to do it. So if you legalize it, you help to validate and standardize the process to make things safer and make quality better and all good things. So if you're like me and you think this is a dumb law and it needs to be changed, then there's something you can do about that. Go to hobbydistillersassociation.org and check them out. They're a non-profit group of hobbyists that are determined to get hobby distilling on the same legal footing as home brewing. For the past few years, they've been trying and succeeding at getting an amendment added to a bill in Congress to legalize hobby distilling for personal use. The amendment was simple. It was just, you can now distill in your home for personal use. You cannot sell it, and you can only make a certain amount per year per household, just like the beer and wine rules. The Hobby Distillers Association is not trying to make a country full of moonshiners and bootleggers. This amendment is for hobbyists who want to make their own liquor in their home for personal use. Last year, the HDA was able to get the amendment onto a bill in Congress that got massive bipartisan support on both sides of the aisle. It actually got so much support that if it had ever come up for a vote, it would have passed, and we'd be able to distill legally now. Sadly, like most bills in Congress, it died in committee and was never actually voted on. When a bill dies like that, you have to start over. But the HDA isn't going to give up. So they're back at it again, trying to get the amendment added to a new bill in Congress. The problem is there's a lot of resistance to making home distillation legalized. It's important to look at who thinks they have the most to lose if hobby distillation were legalized. What industry could possibly have the money and the influence in Congress to put resistance to this bill? I think we can all guess who it is. If they thought about it and they looked at it carefully, they don't stand to lose money in their industry. They actually stand to make quite a bit more and help to revolutionize and grow the liquor industry overall in the U.S. economy. I mean, after all, that's what happened with the craft beer industry. Everybody's making more money. So you may be asking yourself, hey, Bearded, what can I do to help to get this amendment added to a bill and then get it passed through Congress and signed into law? Funny you should ask. Really, I think the only way we're going to move forward with this, because the HDA tried using just a lobbyist before, the difficulty with that is that a lobbyist can't generate an organic grassroots effort to get something pushed through. That's up to us. So if you think this is a dumb law and you think that hobby distilling should be legalized, whether you want to do it or not, we need your help. If you have social media accounts, talk to your friends, tweet to your followers, Snapchat people about it, if that's how that works. Instagram, that's a thing, you know, Facebooky things. You kids today and your social media platforms. So get on social media, talk with your friends about it. They'll say, well, I thought that was legal. No, it's not. Not at all. Well, that's dumb. Yeah, it is. Help us out. So really the best thing you can do is to talk about it. Talk about it with your friends, talk about it with anybody you hang out with on social media, talk about it with, well, maybe not talk about it at work, unless you work in a brewery. When congressional representatives start getting tweeted and they start getting Facebook messages, or they start getting asked directly by their constituents why this is still illegal, they'll get the message and things will start to change. Another thing you can do is go to hobbydistillersassociation.org and join. They need more members. They do have a registered lobbyist in Washington. That's how they were able to get as far as they got last time. You can go to their GoFundMe page and donate anonymously, which is nice. That's what I did. Kind of defeats the purpose now that I'm making a giant video about it. And the other thing you can do is actually write letters to your congressmen and your senators. I did that too. Basically, I just wrote a nice concise letter detailing all the points that I've talked to you about today, and sent it to each one of my senators and my congressional representative to let them know I think this needs to change. You're not going to get put on some sort of a federal list because you want distilling legalized. Don't be afraid. Let them know. So if you're interested in getting hobby distilling the same legal status as home brewing, two directly related hobbies, then check out the links in the description below. I've got a link for the Hobby Distillers Association, their GoFundMe page, a link to help you find your congressional representative's contact information, and a link to some form letters that you can use to send to your representatives to let them know that you want this to change. Alright, so that's the end of my Legalize Hobby Distilling rant. I want to be able to distill. I think it would be an awesome hobby to get into. I mean, I already know how to make malted corn, and so do you if you watch the video. So, you know, we're halfway there. If you have any questions, post them in the comments down below. Keep the conversation going. Tweet your congressional representatives. Share this video and others like it with your friends on Facebook and Twitter. And I'm Bearded and Bored. Thanks for watching.